in trouble. That's what I read. And you know what they were talking about? They were talking about the movie The Day After Tomorrow. And they were talking about parts of Europe. And then they were talking about the rising sea level. And they were talking about a temperature change in Europe that one would see with a mini ice age. That's what I ran across on the, it was the Microsoft News. And they were talking about the current, you know, the North Atlantic conveyor belt and all of that kind of stuff. Well, hello there, Frank Honey. Gina Honey is a little tired, but it's always nice to see you on here, Frank Honey. And you are the very first one. It just may be me and you talking tonight, but that's okay. We can handle it. I was rather shocked to see it. I really was. I remember seeing it not too long ago, and we did a video on it because there were scientists that were talking about a mini ice age instead of a global warming like the scientists were predicting and how the whole world was talking about it. But this one article, if they get it wrong, then that's what you would see. You would see a scenario like The Day After Tomorrow. And if you watch the movie, you know what happens. They go back with these old, hello, good evening. The waters are turning blue on Myrtle Beach, and you wonder if that is connected to the shift of the poles. See, that's interesting too. And they said that this one species is already going into extinction because of, I forget what it was. Well, it's about the climate, but no. What if we are going to experience a mini ice age? And what if all this show that's taking place is all a great big distraction to keep us focused on the stupidity going on in the world, for a better term? I don't like that word, but there's a lot going on. There is. Yeah. The sharks are on the coast. The sharks are on the coast. What was the other animals too? Something was eating them. Something was going to eat them in the ocean. What was it? Stargate is now free on YouTube, and it might be an accurate depiction of how the evil ones set up shop here. Susan Donahue, you know, we want to know what's really interesting about the Stargate. When I was at the Peddler Mall, I don't know if you've seen the short video that I did this past week. My daughter wanted to look at these CDs. You know how DVDs, they were like only $1 there. And just looking for some suitable ones. And there was this binder. And you got all these movies in this binder. And it had Star Trek in it and something. And I opened it up. It had a lot of series of Star Trek and a ton of Stargate in it. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting, because I opened it up when I came back to my mom's house. I thought, I want to see what's in these because I paid $20 for this. Of course, there was well over $20 worth of movies and stuff, but Stargate was one. There were some other science fiction things, but I had seen that and bought it. And then I saw the Baltic Sea Anomaly model, the Millennium Falcon. But it's really interesting that you mentioned that Stargate, because I'm not much of a movie watcher, but I got all those DVDs. I remember seeing one of them once, and it was kind of scary. It's like they took the Stargate and they went to ancient Egypt or something where the pyramids were, and there were the aliens there, is what there was. It's an evening. Dolores Cannon said that we're going to have a new Earth. Well, I watched some of Dolores Cannon's stuff a few years back, and she's very, very interesting. She has since passed, and I think her daughter now is trying to follow in her footsteps, or following in her footsteps. Yeah. They're cutting the live chat. No, if scientists have got it wrong, then we are probably going to be in trouble. If there is, if what we're facing is not a global warming, but in fact, but we did a video on this before. it can heat up so much up there. It can heat up so much from the permafrost that is that is literally the permafrost is melting, and it's causing the methane gas to get trapped up there. That's the biggest part of it. All the permafrost melting with the methane gas getting trapped up there, and it's getting really hot. And that could cause a mini ice age. That's what they were saying. And they did cite the movie The Day After Tomorrow. And the rising sea levels, of course, we know what happens in it. They don't have very much time to prepare. And I really don't think anybody went underground during or did they go underground during The Day After Tomorrow? Everything just froze. First the floods came, the rising sea levels, and then like a flash freeze. Hey, what was that cartoon movie, Frozen? Wonder why they showed the movie Frozen, because was there's a bad entity in it? Good evening. You heard the pyramids and another type of sea creature. Are you talking about Cthulhu? And they also say that there's portals in Myrtle Beach in the sky, Ashley, honey. Evening. I would be outside, but there's so much noise out. It's not like the country for me at all. It's not like I can be outside and it's really quiet. But this is the quiet place right here, and it's okay. I can relax here. But how would you prepare for a mini ice age? How would you? And would you even have enough time to prepare? Would you even? Namaste, Rhonda, honey. There is a bad entity. Oh, in the movie. Yeah, bundle up. There's so many different scenarios, but there is I thought someone said the pole was going to shift already. Did they? Or they said it was coming up, and there's something supposed to be coming on July the 17th. Something about the aliens and something. Yeah. There is a leveling sound resounding, so sweet, and mountains weep as angels lean to listen. The Aquarius age I've heard something about Saturn as a part of this Aquarius age. I did. It's not all about Aquarius, that it's about the god Saturn. And Saturn is like into the technology. Has anyone else heard that? With Saturn? I'm not well versed or knowledgeable in those areas. I'm not. But I did hear something about Saturn, and it's not all that it's going to be cracked up to be, the age of Aquarius. Okay, I got it. Okay, Saturn is very firm, very strict, plays by the rules, order. Well, then you have order out of chaos. Then we have order out of chaos with that. It's the sooner we're out of here, the better. Susan, honey, I'd love to get out of here. Let's send down the ships, the big white ships. I did have a dream around 4 or 5 years ago that it was a desolate area. The cities were all like in rubble or something, and there were not very many people around. There was this empty apartment building. My nose is starting to tickle. No, I don't like that. Every time I want to say something, I think that they do something to make people's nose tickle when you start thinking too much. I really do, because I've seen some other people who are in touch with the spiritual realm, and they do the same thing with them. They make their nose start tickling. And you can't help it. It's your nose. You cannot help but it's your nose. Hello, Carol, honey. Yeah, I had to climb, went into the side of this building, and we went on the top of this apartment complex, the remaining people that were there, and we all had to lay down flat on the ground, and there were UFOs that showed up, and there were different species of aliens. And I remember this real tall alien standing over me, looking at me. I mean, we were just supposed to lay there. They didn't do nothing. They were just watching us and looking at us. I guess they were going to pick us up. They were going to pick us up from on top of this gigantic apartment building. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. I saw it. in my dream state. There were other times in my dream state where I went deep inside the mountain. I did. And I started going so far, I said, no, turn me back around. I don't want to be inside this mountain. And I headed back out. Hello, Susan B. Honey. You are just tuning in. If scientists are wrong, truly, if they are wrong and we aren't really going to have a global warming. Now, granted, it's very warm right now. It's very hot, and there is no denying the heat. If you are in an area, a state where the heat is like reaching record levels, and your air conditioning is going nonstop, or your air conditioning just ain't working and you ain't got no electricity and you're burning up, there is a real world effect happening. No matter how it's being caused, people are hot and crops are withering. The land is drying up. I don't know if we'll see a dust bowl. I don't. But it's like you have these fires, and then all of this rain comes, and then you have flash flood to further erode, further destroy, as if the fires don't destroy enough of a town, like in Ruidoso, when I took the Subaru to my friend in Ruidoso, New Mexico, and went to Roswell and stuff. The area where she lives, they had the wildfires. She lived on a mountain area and had different layers, and I don't know. It is said that it's an Illuminati town. It's right outside of Roswell and White Sands, and NASA also has some kind of a facility there or something like that. But there was fires, and they evacuated, I think, around 8,000 of the people in that resort town is what it was. And what would normally take an hour and a half on highway, I think it was Highway 70, it took 5 hours because of all the mass flow of people leaving that area headed toward Roswell area like that. And then when they came back, then the rains came and the flood waters came pouring in, and that town is like, it's destroyed. It's destroyed. And the rivers have overflowed. The lake has overflowed. There were certain levels of houses beneath the mountain peak where she was at, and there was houses like beautiful log cabins higher up. They literally got washed away from the rain. The mudslides, the first there was the fires and the mudslides, and they just fell down off the mountainside. Hardly any really good structures remain in that specific area. You had the fires, then you had the downpours, and you have the floodwaters, and this was a massive resort town where people went. They had rodeos there too. Polly, honey, thank you. I have to switch it up because I had this shirt on all day, and I thought I got to add a little flair to it. So it's this hat right here, and it's fine. I'm just leaning in this chair. My back's up against the door. I'm pinned up against the door. That's how I feel at times. All right, you got me pinned up against the wall. What else do you want me to do? Sometimes you find yourself telling the spiritual realm that, okay, you've got me pinned up against the door. You got me pinned up against the wall. You're not letting me move this way. You're not letting me go this way. You're literally not even letting me move. What are you expecting me to do? You ever feel that way with the spiritual realm? Because you know you're not going nowhere, but you know that you're there. You're right there. They're right there. They got you pinned up, but that's all they can do, because you can walk away. You can break free when you want. But I think that at times, what else do you want from me? What else do you want from me? Sometimes these entities out there, these spiritual forces, they will let you be so that they can find out things from you to see what will you share, so they can get a deeper introspect within your being into the spiritual realm, because they can't connect to the part that you can connect to. That's why they watch the people. That's why they watch these psychics a lot. That's why they call on the psychics. That's why they call on the remote viewers, because you have some people in this world, they want to know what is going to go on. So they call on the spiritual. They call on the spiritual. And how can it be that the spiritual, with the frequency, well, if you don't listen to the music, you don't have to worry about just your one part of your brain not working. or you don't have to worry about that. You still have your spiritual side of you intact, and you know you're not going to let go of it because that's your biggest asset, the spiritual you on the inside. Let's just face it. The governments of the world, the rulers of this world, the humans, and sometimes the other lower vibrational entities, they don't know what's going to happen. That's why they got to seek counsel from spiritual advisors, whether they be bad and whether they be good. And they literally, they watch the YouTube channels, they watch all social media, and they scan it for any clue coming. Did you just see that? It kind of was like light for any clue coming from the spiritual realm that might give them a heads up of what's coming for them. So if you're wondering why some people are still out there, well, they're leaving them out there because that's their connection to the spiritual realm. They want to know what's going on, and that's the only way. So they kind of like tolerate you, is what they do. They don't want to get rid of you. They'll just give you enough. It's like feeding a person enough just to keep them alive. They'll give you just enough to keep you going so that they can get information out of you. See what you're going to say, because they never know what's going to come from the spiritual realm. But the scientists, if they are wrong, and some are speculating that it's not a global warming, even though we're talking global warming, and they're saying we're all talking about global warming, but they're thinking that we could see a scenario like the day after tomorrow. And they were talking about the rising sea levels, and they were talking about Europe, the temperature change in Europe of 15, whatever you go by in Europe, 15 some odd Celsius or something. And if something like that's coming, it makes perfect sense why there's so much distractions that are taking place, because these distractions are stupid. And I don't really like that word, I don't, but stupid knows better. They know what they're doing, and they know that people's watching, and people just shaking their heads like this. I cannot believe this is happening. And it's consuming people. And that's what they want people to be, consumed with what's going on in the world while not paying attention. And if there's a pole shift coming, you think they're going to tell you the pole's getting ready to flip? There's going to be a pole shift. They're not going to tell you. They're not. They're just going to have to find out. You might be given a week's notice. You might be given a few days' notice. You may be given no days' notice. Things are ramping up for sure. Kenneth, honey. Hello. You have a good day. You all happy, peaceful for all of you all. The bunkers and the caves, the bolt holes won't save the evil ones. No, it won't. Did you ever wonder why so many famous people come from Kentucky? They do. And why is Mammoth Cave system is like the biggest cave system in the world? I think that's what I read. And if there's underground tunnels here, you know they're going all the way underneath even underneath the rivers, even underneath the oceans, to just all crisscrossing all inside the earth. What did the devil say to God? Satan say to God, according to the book of Job, when he went before God after the angels went before? God said, where have you been? Oh, from going to and fro inside the earth. Walking to and fro inside the earth. Well, how else can he walk inside the earth and go to and fro inside the earth unless there's tunnels? And I guess he lives inside the earth. There's tunnels and there's different levels. And I'm yet to, I didn't even think to ask or even inquire just now. I didn't. When he came before God, if God was inside the earth or God was on the earth, it doesn't say. It doesn't say where God was at. But Satan said from going to and fro inside the earth, back and forth. I think there's more to life than what we're being told, and there's more to the biblical narrative than what we've been told. I truly do believe that the rulers When was it the 17th century? If the Vatican was the only one who was allowed to have a Bible. I remember that growing up. We had some neighbors that lived next to us in the complex that we lived in. They were not allowed to have a Bible of their own. The priest was the only one who could have the Bible. So were they the ones also who decided what went in there and what didn't go in there? Because they could have been. Hello, you all. Please give this video a thumbs up. Because if the scientists have got it wrong, even though they're talking about global warming, they said they could see a mini ice age with the rising sea levels. First, the sea levels have to rise, but they would only rise if the poles would flip, right? If the poles were to flip, but would it be a magnetic flip on the inside of the earth? Because true north is already shifted. If it would be a magnetic flip, maybe the earth wouldn't, maybe it wouldn't flip like a weeble wobble. You know, the weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. They just, that would, I'm trying to see how that would happen. I'm trying to visualize it, how on earth that would happen. You think you would be the light conquering the dark if the poles were flipping. I like that, Lily. The light conquering the dark. That would cause the poles to flip. It's like you ever hear someone say, this person's in their North Pole, this person's in their South Pole. The South Pole is the lower vibration. If you look at it from a spiritual point of view, and from that type of view, the South Pole, your operating out of your South Pole, it's the lower vibration. You're operating out of your North Pole. Oh, you right on par. You are right where you're supposed to be. That's what your Gmail said. The Indian spirits guard the forest, and you hear drums and chanting. Gina, were your neighbor Catholic? I heard that story. Catholics were not allowed to read their own Bible. I had some neighbors while growing up in the projects. We had a family. They were there for probably maybe a year or so until they could, they were hard workers, the husband and wife and the children, and they worked construction. And, you know, they bought a piece of land, saved their money, very conservative, and they went over to the land that they bought with their shovels every single night after they got off of work, and the whole family took the shovels and they dug out the whole area for the basement all by hand until they got it all dug out, and then they poured their basement all by hand. That's how hardworking they were. They really did good, but that's what I was told. We can't have a Bible. Yeah. If you're just tuning in, hello. If the pole would be flipping, it would be a disturbance. And yes, there would be tsunamis, but everything would resettle again. Would it be like the Noah's flood? How did the poles flip during the time of Noah? Could that been something? Because they were talking in this article that there was an ice age back in, because you had the ground was frozen that allowed the Europeans and some whatever to walk right across. It was like a landmass was there, but it was a frozen one. But if you think about the woolly mammoths and the other animals, it was like a flash freeze. A flash freeze occurred, and I wonder if there are any species of aliens that have the capability of causing a flash freeze. It would have to be a superpower of a god to literally cause a flash freeze like that. Just like when the asteroid thing happened, it happened so fast. They were talking about that, about the land bridge that happened way back then with the mini ice age, and it's quite possible that it could happen again. And there is scientific theory to back it up. even that was in that day after tomorrow. We did a video and it got shadow banned on here. It was like a couple years ago. And it was in the middle of another video that we were doing. I can't remember what that video was about. That's because we don't stick to the same subject. The pole shift might. The Bering Strait is up by Alaska. Is that where it went? Hello there, James. If you're just tuning in, if the scientists have it wrong, and it's, of course, it's very hot now, but you cannot deny that it is hot out. It's too hot. It's too warm for some people, and it's hard to cool off, even with your air conditioning, and no one can afford $500, $600, $700, $800, $1,000 electric bill. And if your electric goes out, then you're really going to be smoldering. The Stargate, they go to Planet X. Susan Donahue, I'm gonna have to watch those series. They go to Planet X. Oh, when I opened up that binder that had the CDs in it, you know what the very first CD was? And I showed it on a live YouTube video. The Wrath of Khan. I don't know if it was Stargate or Star Trek. The Wrath of Khan. Khan. I think that probably was a not too good time, is what I think. A buoy off the coast of Washington State and Vancouver detected an 80-foot tilt, thinking something shifted. When did that happen, Michelle H? I did have all those things to where you could watch those incidents with the National Buoy System. And I think that is why they did it, so they could see what would happen. When did that happen? Yeah, Star Trek, The Wrath of Khan. We can't visit the North Pole. A few hours ago? If that happened a few hours ago? That is wild. That is wild. Maybe that's why they wanted to have Snap, you know what, overseas. Snap, a big E, the big E's overseas, and they wanted to hurry up and get everything done. And with all this distraction going on, and there is a lot of distraction, they don't want people to panic. If this was going to happen, they don't want people to panic, and that's why they're not saying nothing, because it would be mass chaos in the streets, and they can't control it right now because they still got to get their plans done. All their plans are not put into place. They got a few things they're trying to wrap up, and they're just they're biding their time. They are. The earthquake is off Vancouver Island. Thank you, and Garcia. Was that in the day after tomorrow about Vancouver Island earthquake? I know the buoys. I know there was readings in the buoys also that was in the day after tomorrow. You posted the quakes on Twitter thing and it went viral. That's great, Al Honey. Yes, Paul Bagley did this morning. He did. He did what this morning, Anne? Let me see. Oh, the earthquake island? Yeah. You wondered if the earth would flip over to one side. Oh, that's a really good question. Would our brains get sucked out? Is that what's affecting our memory because the poles are shifting and it's interfering with our minds? Our magnetic, what do you call that? Our radar within. Is it interfering? If something is happening inside the earth, it would be another theory as to why people are becoming more forgetful, because it's messing with this up here. It's messing with our sonar inside of our bodies. Oh, I've got sound here, Amber Honey. You live on the fault line. It was earthquake today off of Vancouver. Yeah, the sound is fine. I have not touched that, and I'm looking at that microphone on here, and I don't see no line across it. I do not. So was there other people talking about the mini ice age today and the pole shift? Well, they're always talking about the pole shift on some channels. They are more frequent than they used to. These solar flares are agitating the core. Well, they said that the core had stopped spinning, and they said that like a year or so ago. They've said a lot of things, and what they've said what's going to happen has not happened yet, and it's because they cannot predict it. They cannot. They think they can predict it, but their models are not. They're not accurate. That's why they're not predicting it very well. The sound is all good here. January the 26th, 1782 earthquakes are the same area. 33-foot tsunami. 600 miles off of Missouri, and 600 off Alaska and down. Did the Ice Age flip the firmament? Oh, that's really interesting. Are we living in the upside down? Well, that's a really interesting. I've never heard that before, but that makes a person think and makes a person wonder within their being. It's 150. It's 105 degrees in eastern Washington state, Annie. Wow. We're not running out of water, so you're good, right? It's Operation Fishbowl. Are we having, what is Operation? Oh, that's the floodwaters, and we're the fish in the water. Where are the fish in the water is the Operation Fishbowl, because it's going to flip. Then the earth is flat, if that would be the case. I'm just saying. The universe is organic and multi-dimension, and they never predict its outcome. The Cascadia fault line dropped 6 feet, devastating west coast to a west in 1700. The Cascadia, was it this morning that I was talking about Cascadia? I said Cascadia, Cascadian. I don't know what I was talking about. It was either this morning or last night. I kept saying the word Cascadia. There could be something coming. There really could be. I don't even know what I was talking about. Gina, I know. That's how it is all the time. You don't know what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I do. Frankie Turtle. Oh, Frankie Turtle. You heard that we have already started going the other way. The ocean's currents are being affected, and the sharks are agitated. That's right. Well, there's no water that's going backwards, right? It was 1,700 feet. It caused a tsunami in Japan. It's the big fault line. We're going through the big fault line, wherever that's at. But we still have Easter Island. We still have Easter Island solar eclipse coming. So we're gonna have to have everything in place for that, because they cannot have their ceremony interrupted by a mini ice age. Or can they? Because that's coming too. The Eastern, right over there. Someone tried to destroy or deface those in somewhere in Easter Island, the monoliths in Easter Island. Where was the other one? There is another. It's not this solar eclipse. It's the lunar eclipse. There's a lunar eclipse coming. I forget where the lunar eclipse is coming, but that's coming too. The lunar eclipse comes, and then 2 weeks later comes the solar eclipse. And it's supposed to be, the energy is still here with the last solar eclipse that happened on the 8th of April. It's still here. Claudette, hello. You just made it fast. Make it fast. What do you got to make fast, Susan Donahue, honey? Nature is not a doomsday kind of imagination. Nature is nurturing, isn't it? Nature is nurturing. It's nurturing if you can go out in nature. Pure nature. Yeah. You lost your fish. Aw. No, it's not frozen. A massive whale stranding, 77 whales. That's what I heard. Are they fleeing from something? And or is their sonar all messed up? Did something drive them out of the ocean? Or is their sonar messed up? Well, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, but it don't really matter. I'm looking at this camouflage thing, and what I'm seeing is, you know, the ancient hieroglyphs, the ancient, the dog head. It's like the dog head with the mouth on it. It's like an Anunnaki with the ears and stuff. Or a reptilian head. I'm seeing a reptilian head on there. I am. With this like, it's got a big long like snake-like mouth. But it's got like, but it also looks like one of those dog heads. Some kind of aliens with dog heads. Alligator head. An alligator head is what I'm seeing. An alligator head. Gina, did you hear about the people that had all of their produce and their meats seized because they said that they were producing more than they should be allowed? You can't believe this. Well, we did a video the other day. There goes my nose tickling, you all. About hoarding. We read the hoarding law here on this YouTube channel. That you, in certain times, you are not allowed to do that. And the government can come in. Oh, excuse me. And they used COVID as one of the reasons for medical supplies and stuff like that. But there is a hoarding law. They were producing too much. Well, then you can go to the verse. Just don't give me too much or too little. Just give me my daily bread. Otherwise, I'll have too much and say, who is the Lord? Or I may not have enough and I may steal and so dishonor the name of my God. Yeah, you just want to just have your not too much and not too little, like the little, not the little red hen. I don't know who it was. Yeah. Who had their produce seized? I read a long time ago that they were going to ban miniature farms, even small gardens, and they are in some areas. St. Christopher was depicted. Oh yeah, depicted. Samantha, you all, this is stranded on the beaches in Scotland is what happened. The whales were, well, it's Scotland. Scotland would not be where Point Nemo is. It would not be where Cthulhu is, like Raikou. Raikou is the city, R'lyeh or something, is the city where Cthulhu is in prison. In that city, way in the depths of the ocean. And Point Nemo is where they drop all the space junk because it's so far from everywhere. It's very remote in the ocean. Cryon has said a mini ice age is coming and we will need more energy to be ready for it. And he didn't give a timeline, Richard Honey. Cryon. I was thinking about that today because it's summertime and it's time for us to get the woodshed full of wood again. Even though it's hot, it's time for us to be doing that, preparing, because I don't like to wait till it's fall or winter in order to get the wood ready for the woodshed. Not hoarding, it's called survival skills. That's right, survival skills. Ooh. The Loch Ness Monster. Oh, Dutch scent, yes. I used to watch him all the time. I did years ago. I watched him, and I watched Suspicious Observers. I liked Suspicious Observers' spirit. He had a good spirit, and that's why I listened to him. His voice was nice. I like to listen to people's voice that is not all raspy and whatever. You got to have a good frequency. So yeah, I do like the Suspicious Observers, and I have not heard Dutch Sense in a long time either. Scottsdale took the Stone of Destiny from Egypt. Wow. Have you noticed that there's been a lot of videos about the Madrid fault line, the huge earthquake in the 1800s when the Mississippi went backwards? It did. And the earthquake was a frost quake, is what it was. Yeah, we talked about that. It's been a few days ago on this channel. We talked about that when the Hurricane Beryl, or Burl, whatever you want to call it, the path, the trajectory was right along the solar eclipse line that went straight up through there, and that was right along the New Madrid area, some of the main points where it would go off. Plus you have something in Tennessee also. I forget that whatever one that is called. I keep seeing the Anunnaki. I keep looking at this, and I keep seeing the dog head. I do. I see, if whatever this is, it's on that camouflage thing right there. But it reminds me of that one painting or something in ancient Egypt. And I don't know if you all would be able to see it. Let me see if I can get it. Let me see if I can get the head. It's literally, it's like right there. That's what I keep seeing. The head is like a snake head right here. Like its teeth and its eye up there and its long snout. But it's got the rest of it's got a body to it. And that's its arm right there going straight down. It's like an Anunnaki or something. It's one of those, is what it looks like. It's like camouflaged, is what it looked like. Its long, elongated mouth, its eye, its head, its shoulders, its arm. You see it? Yeah, I see it too. Wasn't there a character like that in the Scorpion King that looked like that? That had that snout? Yeah. Or that head? You are seeing it too? Yeah, I was sitting here. I can see the whole body of it right there. There's something's changing. I think the veil is really, really thinning. I mean, I don't feel scared or anything. I don't. There's no energy that's bad coming from it. There isn't. But I certainly see it right there. I know I can't stick my hand in the way. It's like, there's his head, there's his long snout or mouth, and no disrespect, shoulder and arm, very muscular body. Yeah, it's quite different. Let me flip it around. It's very different. You see it, and it has cloak mode dinosaur. Yes, Miss Constitutional Rights. That's what I'm seeing. And I'm not bothered by it at all. Do you all sense any bad energy from it? Because I'm not. I'm not sensing it at all. I'm not. Yeah, you see something. You don't know how it's going to be on the ice age when the planet is healing. Oh, when the planet is bearing up. Um, no, I'm not. No, I didn't say it was moving. I said I see it. I said the veil is thinning, but it's not moving at all. It's not. It's just, it's there. It's just like a portrait, just like something frozen in time. It's like that movie Frozen in Time. Was there a movie Frozen in Time? Yeah. Yeah, no, if it was moving, I would have said the thing, look at that moving over there. They just, if you're being observed, they're just going to sit there, is what they're going to do. They're just going to observe you from the other dimension, but they can project themselves into our dimension in any way they want to, whether it be great big or small. Yeah, it's another one about, yeah, the level. Everything is frozen in time. Yeah, I see another one underneath it too. What causes the pole? What causes the pole to flip you all? What causes it? Is it a planetary system that's coming in? Because there's, I see 117, the number 117. It just went to 118. Is there a planetary system that is here that is causing the pole to shift? Is it destabilizing? If there truly is a pole shift, I wonder if there will be any other type of beings that are friendly to Earth who will evacuate people. Now, I did hear this back in 2018 and 2019. There were people who were trained since they were 5 years old by, I'm not going to say malevolent being, by benevolent being. They were trained to fly a ship. And the ship that they were to fly could evacuate, I think, 500 or 5,000 people on one ship, and they were the commander of that ship. I've heard this from so many people way back then when I would interact with them when I first started off showing pictures of them, that was their sole duty, to receive training in the, I don't know, astral realm, the dream state, or wherever it is they went, off planet training or something, to evacuate. They had areas they were going to go, and they were going to evacuate the people and take them away somewhere to safety, is what they were going to do. Your cousin, New Earth, yeah. Let me see this. If the Three Gorges Dam has changed Earth's tilt by 2 degrees, then what happens if it goes, wow, the Three Gorges Dam? That's China. I thought they already are experiencing problems with their dam in China, because that is massive. Is that in China, or is that in Africa? I know China had invested a lot in Africa. A lot of the countries were going to Africa to invest, but China was one of the big ones. I guess because of, if there is like a pole shift or something, that is going to be the new area of commerce or something like that, for sustainable living and things. The dam is already gone. Okay. The actually seen being invisible, they are going to do something. China, yes, it's under stress. Yeah. Bingo. The Mandela effect is in effect. It is. Many benevolent beings in our universe, they're closely monitoring Earth. Yes. And they're closely monitoring us yeah. It's like, I'm going to be getting off here, you all. I'm getting sleepy, but I'm making myself stay awake, but I am getting sleepy. So I'm probably going to be ending this video. And if the scientists are wrong, which I hope that they're not, they did say that we could have sea levels rise and a mini ice age, even though we're experiencing global warming. And what can you do about it? Prepare. You can be aware and you can prepare, is what you can be. So I am going to go. Let me get up out of this chair. I've gotten myself way too comfortable. It's not like me to want to just sit down and relax, but I did. It was really nice to relax. Yeah, you all have a blessed night too. And thank you, moderators. Thank you all for your comments. Keep them coming, because something's going on, because there's a lot of silly, let's just say silly distraction that is taking place. And it truly is silly. It's like, I'm ready for a new show. I am. Can you just show something different than the same old, same old? Something more entertaining? Really? That's how you got to think about it. Show something more entertaining than that on the news. So with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello, from my heart to yours. Love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, you all. Hope you have a wonderful sleep. I do. If you have not been able to get any sleep, I hope you sleep very well tonight, and that you are guarded by the angels of God all night, all day. Angels watching over you, keeping the darkness at bay so you can have a good night's rest. Thank you, moderators, and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Good night. And don't forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We got to get ready. That's right. Love you.